Well, I'm Kathie Glass, and I'm a lawyer and from Houston. I've been a Libertarian for over 30 years. And like many other people, I've always enjoyed reading history and studying economics. And I knew that we were making some terrible decisions in our country and our economy, but there'd be a day of reckoning. I thought that day would be after I was dead. About 2008, I came to see it differently, and with all that was going on, I saw that the way things were going, I was going to outlive my country. And I said, that's not going to happen. We can't let that happen. So I started being politically active again. I ran for governor of Texas in 2010. I didn't win. But I'm still here fighting for liberty because we have got to do something to turn this thing around and reclaim our lost freedoms.
And what are you going to be talking about tonight?
Well, the title of my speech is going to be, in times like these, we need a Patrick Henry, not a Thomas Jefferson. Although I love Thomas Jefferson, and by that I mean that the best ideas in the world will be lost if you don't act upon them. And the time has come to take some action, the way Patrick Henry and George Washington gave life to the words and the wisdom of Thomas Jefferson. We need to start taking action, and the action I propose that we take is a return to sovereignty in Texas using nullification. I'm not talking about secession, I'm talking about our constitutional framework of federalism. We've got to take a stand, and Texas is the place. We've got to draw a line in the sand here in Texas.
We have one of the people, I forgot what it is, his speech is drawing the line in the sand.
Yes.
And he's going back to something, and I should mention, well, as a Texan, and it meant something different. It means
yes.
the Alamo.
Of course.
So.
Yes. And that's what we have to do. There are some Ronald Reagan speeches that I'm going to reference tonight. Very wonderful words. It's sad that they weren't acted upon as they should have been. But yes, we have to choose our place. There is a point in time and space. There is a place in time, a place from which we will not retreat, and a place to which they can no longer advance. He's basically talking about a line in the sand, and we have to all decide when that's going to be and how we're going to do it, because these issues are not, we are going to lose everything that America stands for, all of the liberties that we've cherished all these years, if we don't act and get straight what we're going to do and how we're going to do that. Unite. We can do this, but I think Texas is the battleground for this, because I say we're in a battle for America, and Texas is the battleground, but we are not battle ready because we have no leaders. I'm going to try to call upon people to be a leader, because we need it in many aspects of this fight, to step up and get active and resolve that we will resist this tyranny.
It seems like there are a lot of more issues that are really galvanizing young people, because the things seem to be moving politically so quickly now that do you see that there seems to be more people that are becoming politically active now than in the past?
I think that's right. There are things that resonate with individuals that don't really, aspects of liberty that they prize that others don't. And what I'm saying is we need to recognize that different people have different lines in the sand, the place that they will stand and fight. But we don't know what's going to be the, I'll call it the flashpoint that galvanizes masses to stand up and take notice of what's happening. That thing could be something that we would consider fairly trivial in the broad perspective. But there are those flashpoints, like, I don't know what it could be. So you go to your bank one day and it's closed, and you wonder, is there really any money in there? Something like that that could galvanize large numbers of people, not just people in the liberty movement. So that's what we need to be prepared for when that time comes, that people in general are just taking notice and want to act, but they don't know what to do. They don't know what's happening. We've got to be ready to say, this is how we act. This is how we work together to preserve that aspect of, to preserve liberty, so that you can have that aspect that matters to you and I can have that aspect that matters to me.
Okay. Because we've been talking to different people with different backgrounds and who have been sort of brought into politics or activism for different reasons. How do you feel about, you're here surrounded by people that have that all different backgrounds and all different sort of passions, and they're here for similar things, but they're coming from sort of different places?
I think we have a common why, and that is we all, as liberty activists, understand that our liberty and our country is under assault like never before, and we're going to lose both if we don't act. Now, the what and the how of how we go about that, that's where we may differ. But we need to understand that we don't all have to work the same way. There are very different ways to go about this, and younger people may want to do something more in a different way than what some of the older people do, and that's fine. We need to find ways to cooperate and to help each other, because we're not in competition.
Okay. I think there's a really nice, you have a way of I'm blathering, and you make it really simple, so I appreciate that, because I think he's the one that's going to be editing most of this stuff, but it's nice when people can sum things up really succinctly. Do you have any sort of points?
Is there, now you are clearly a libertarian, you identify as a libertarian.
I'm a small L libertarian and a large L libertarian.
Okay. Is there an issue on the, is there a platform, I don't even know if that's the right word for this party, but is there something that is not a Kathie Glass issue, but you're willing to support it because as part of the Libertarian Party, that's what you have to do?
Well, that depends on, am I running a political campaign or not? When I'm running a campaign, I pick 3 or 4 issues that are important to the voters of Texas, and I offer them libertarian solutions, because you know why they say liberty is the answer. Now, what was the question? So the main issues that Texans care about, we have libertarian solutions. I say, well, why not emphasize those? But I am for the non-aggression principle, and I see it applied in all ways. There's just some ways that it is not a critical issue. We have very difficult decisions, very hard things that we are largely united on and that we need to do to preserve our liberty. And let's address those first. And then afterwards, when we've got this taken care of, we have this crisis that's passed, then we can work on expanding some other areas of liberty.
At the barbecue last night, the talk about things such as the oil companies, and I don't remember who it was in the group there that mentioned, and it might have been one of the people from that little town there, about the idea of starting off, locally, and being activist on that sort of community scale. Could you either talk about that or maybe something that's sort of Texas specific?
Well, in Texas, we've got some problems with, well, like all places. Politics has become the means by which the rich and powerful get more rich and more powerful. And that's what we saw in the Gardendale community last night, where the rich oil companies, and I have nothing against oil and gas companies or drilling, Texans don't, but the way they're going about robbing their land of it, that's what's the problem. And this is one thing that I see illustrated very well in the national scene with what they call the Keystone Pipeline. This is a very clear means of differentiating the Republicans from the Democrats and the Libertarians. The Democrats say, don't put that pipeline in because it's environmentally unsound. The Republicans say, put it in, it means jobs. Libertarians say, eminent domain given to a private company, a foreign private company, they want to steal your land. And nothing can justify that, no amount of jobs can justify that use of force. So the same thing in essence going on in Gardendale and probably all over Texas, where the oil companies are not abiding by established, long-standing common law principles that you don't harm someone else's land. You don't effectively take it away from them, leaving them the title and the necessity to pay taxes, but you get all the use of it. No, that's not Texan. That's not libertarian. Here we have a perfect example to reach out to those. And you heard those men say that they were lifelong Republicans, but they were done with the Republican Party, and it's for that very reason, because the Republican platform talks a big talk about supporting property rights, but they don't do it. And they're actively there helping the rich and powerful steal people's property. We saw it in the Trans-Texas Corridor. We see it with the water rights issue. It's all over, and if there's one thing Texans will unite on and stand and fight, it's seeing their property taken out from under them.